In September 1987, the heart of Brazil would be illuminated by a glow that seemed magical. But this glow didn't come from the sky, nor from anything divine. It was the glow of death. And it would transform Goiânia, a quiet city in the country's center-west, into the stage for one of the greatest radiological tragedies on the planet. It all began with forgotten junk. An old building, abandoned for years, had once housed the Goiânia Institute of Radiotherapy. Inside, rusted machines and medical equipment were left behind, among them, a small, mysterious, sealed metal capsule. On September 13, 1987, two scrap collectors, Roberto dos Santos Alves and Wagner Pereira, decided to break into the building to look for something they could sell. Amidst the rubble and dust, they found the radiotherapy machine. It was heavy, strange, but it looked like it was worth something. They dismantled it with simple tools and took it home, unaware that inside it lay Cesium-137, a radioactive substance used in cancer treatments. Inside that capsule was a glowing blue powder. A hypnotic, almost magical blue. The kind of glow that, at first glance, could enchant a child. But what no one knew was that this glow was a death sentence itself. At home, Roberto managed to pry open the capsule with a pocket knife and a nail. The blue powder began to spill out, and he was fascinated. He placed small portions on a plate, showed it to friends and neighbors, and spread the deadly glow everywhere. Days later, he took the device to a scrap yard. The owner, Dever Alves Ferreira, was also captivated. When he saw the glow at night, he was mesmerized. He took the capsule inside his house and, proud, showed it to his family and friends. He said it was something beautiful, a rare find, a gift from fate. People touched it, played with it, rubbed the powder on their hands. Some even spread it on their skin, thinking it was harmless. But every touch, every breath, every invisible particle was pure radiation. And it was already beginning to destroy their bodies, from the inside out. Days later, the symptoms began. Nausea, fever, dizziness, strange sores on the skin. No one could explain it. It seemed like a severe flu. But the illness worsened. Dever began to notice that everyone who had touched the blue powder was getting sick. His wife, Maria Gabriela, suffered from diarrhea, a high fever, and deep sores. Her skin burned, even without fire. One of the scrap yard workers lost his hair, developed blisters on his hands, and was overcome by a fatigue that kept him from walking. Meanwhile, the blue glow remained, illuminating the darkness of the house. People gathered to see it, fascinated. Children played near it. And the radiation spread like an invisible shadow. Among the people closest to the capsule was Leda das Neves Ferreira, a little girl of just 6 years. Enchanted by the glow, she even rubbed the blue powder on her body. The glow seemed harmless. But inside her, the cesium began to destroy her cells, her blood, her organs. Leda became gravely ill. She was taken to the hospital, but no one understood what was happening. The doctors thought it was food poisoning, a virus, anything, except radiation. Meanwhile, Dever grew suspicious. He called a friend and decided to take the capsule to the public health authority. There, the technicians immediately noticed something abnormal. The measuring instruments began to beep frantically. The contamination was massive. And Goiânia's nightmare had just begun. Within hours, the city fell into chaos. Technicians cordoned off the scrap yard and the family's home. But the evil had already spread. Hundreds of people had come into contact with the cesium. And thousands were in a panic. The government sent teams from the CNEN, National Nuclear Energy Commission, and the army. Men in white suits, masks, and carrying meters began to walk the streets. And what they discovered was terrifying. The radioactive particles were on clothes, furniture, buses, and even on the sidewalks. More than 110,000 people were examined. 249 were contaminated. 4 would die in the following weeks, among them, little Leda das Neves. Leda's body was placed in a lead coffin, sealed, and buried in an isolated cemetery. But even so, the population revolted. People were afraid that the body still emitted radiation. They threw stones at the hearse and tried to block the burial. Hysteria gripped the city. The blue glow, which once enchanted, now symbolized an invisible terror. A faceless, odorless, soundless enemy, but one capable of killing slowly, from the inside out. In the following days, authorities began to demolish entire houses. Everything that had been touched by the cesium was buried as radioactive waste. Furniture, clothes, toys, household items. Over 13 tons of contaminated materials were removed from Goiânia and taken to a repository 20 kilometers away, in Abadia de Goiás. It was as if part of the city had been erased. The entire neighborhood became a wasteland. People lost everything, their homes, their clothes, their memories. And they still carried the stigma of being the contaminated. For years, many residents of Goiânia were discriminated against. No one wanted to shake their hands or rent houses to them. And the fear lingered, even when the technicians said everything was clean. The survivors of the disaster carry physical and emotional scars to this day. Some were left with skin lesions, others developed cancer years later. But the psychological trauma was the deepest. Many say the prejudice was worse than the radiation. Some families were kicked out of their homes, insulted, and isolated. The fear of the unknown turned the victims into pariahs in their own city. Goiânia was never the same. Cesium-137 left an invisible scar on the land, on the people, and in the memory of Brazil. Today, almost 4 decades later, the Cesium-137 accident is remembered as one of the world's greatest radiological tragedies. But it is also a reminder of ignorance and carelessness. About how a simple act, opening an unknown capsule, can unleash an invisible and devastating force. The blue glow is still studied in universities, documentaries, and books. But for those who lived through that horror, it is not a scientific curiosity. It is a painful memory. A glow that killed, tore families apart, and destroyed lives. And that still haunts the heart of Brazil today. The Cesium-137 still exists. Even after decades, it still glows, trapped inside lead containers, stored far from the city. But for those who lost someone, the glow has never faded. It lives on in the memories, in the stories, in the eyes of those who survived. A blue glow. That seemed beautiful. But that was, in truth, the color of death. If this story moved you, leave a like and subscribe, because here, we remember the stories the world tries to forget. Do you believe the government told the whole truth about the disaster? Comment down below with your thoughts on the Cesium-137 case.